Abductors of Divisional Officer for Idabato demand close to 2 billion CFA francs for his release. Ewane Roland and the council staff are still in the custody of the abductors 3 weeks after they were snuffed out of their residence towards Nigeria. And school officials in Nyong and Mfumo division in the central region of Cameroon have been urged to beef up security cordon to preempt child abduction based on red alert from security operatives. Cameroon has observed a rise in femicide as 57 women are recorded to have been killed in 316 days as a result of domestic violence. Top stories.
Canal International.
Thanks and welcome to join me. I'm Kijan Henry at Timben. Of course, our different platforms are open for consultation. Now we begin from the southwest region where cross-border diplomatic rescue efforts continue to make sure they secure the release of the abducted divisional officer for Idabato, Ewane Roland, who was snuffed out of his administrative jurisdiction some 3 weeks ago. The abductors are reported to have demanded 1.9 billion CFA francs, that is close to 2 billion CFA francs, to secure his release. Our Southwest Chief Correspondent, Ines Ondwabala, report.
3 weeks after the adoption of the divisional officer of Idabato in the Bakassi Peninsula, pirates have requested the sum of 1.9 billion francs CFA should Ewane Roland be released. Members of the Dragon Fighters Marine, who claimed the Bakassi October 1, 2024 attacks, have issued additional demands, including the release of the associate currently held at the Boya Central Prison, a flying boat, plus 10 generators for the two adopted to be set free. Since October 1, 2024, when the divisional officer Ewane Roland and the council store's accountant Etongo Ismael were kidnapped, Idabato has been a shadow of itself. Economic activities grounded, business places closed, defense and security forces intensifying patrol in both land and maritime space as piracy remains the main security challenge here at Idabato. Ewane Roland, divisional officer of Idabato, and Etongo Ismael council staff are still under captivity, but the recent development brings some relief to the family, clearing uncertainty on the fact that they are still alive. Family members of the adopted expect a happy end to this matter. It is worth noting that Cameroon and Nigeria are working hand in gloves to ensure the release of the adopted divisional officer and the council staff.
Well, thanks very much, Ines Ondwabala, reporting there. And it was a very shocking discovery in Gwa village in Kongsamba, that is in the Mungo division of the littoral region, after the lifeless body of a woman in her 50s was discovered floating in the stream on Gwa. Sheriff Asale now comes back to that story.
A farmer made a grim discovery while walking on his farm in Gwa village located in Kongsamba 3 subdivision. The body of a woman around 50 years old was found in a nearby stream, suspended on a rock. Startled by the sight, the farmer immediately reported the incident to the village chief.
And at that time, I don't hear my hide before I see some boy for city for is sociaux. At that time, I don't see before I run with my woman.
Local authorities swiftly responded alongside villagers. The body has been retrieved and transported to a local morgue with assistance from the military hospital of Kongsamba. Investigations are ongoing as officials await any potential claims of a missing person that may help identify the woman. Anyone with relevant information is urged to report to the police station of Konsamba 3.
And rescue mission continues in Kribi, that is in the Ocean Division, where the body of an 11-year-old boy actually drowned and disappeared in the street, in fact, at the ocean. And so families are very much concerned and are still searching with the rescue operatives in the Sanaga Maritime Division. Titles once more with Sherfa Saleh.
Nze Gilade Shifu, a 6th grade student at the Bilingual Technical High School in Kribi, has been unaccounted for since he and his friends went to Ngoye Beach after playing a football match. Following their game, the group decided to take a swim, but the tide turned deadly as Gilade was swept away by powerful ocean waves.
When I get back home, I saw the rest of the children. They were standing up. They were restless. So they asked me when would you launch to the church. I said, no, I don't go with Gilange to the church. So they said that they have not seen Gilange.
His mother, Solange, noted his son's unusual absence upon returning from church that day. She says she felt something was wrong because he should have been home at that time.
We went out throughout the whole night. We have to search. We go to Lycée Beleng. When we were going to Lycée Beleng, the child said, no, let my daughter come with him to Lycée Technique. So they went to Lycée Technique. I went to Lycée Beleng. We searched everywhere. Nowhere to be found.
At his family residence, the atmosphere is one of deep sorrow. Gilade, originally from the Cambe region in the northwest region, is still believed to be trapped in the ocean's depths. Efforts to locate his body have included public announcements and community alerts along the coastal areas of Kribi.
By findings, we come now to realize that my neighbor's child was with my son at the sea. So when they were there, it happened there. So they sent the neighbor's child to come and call for us. So the neighbor's child came and just stayed quiet the whole day.
The local communities rallying around the grieving family, hoping for a resolution to this heartbreaking situation as they continue to search for the young boy.
Heartbreaking indeed, Maury. Thanks very much. And the Senior Divisional Officer for the Nyong and Fumu Division of the Central Region of the country has actually cautioned school authorities and parents to make sure they beef up security alert of security measures following an imminent alert of child abduction in schools. And from a very prudent distance, vigilante askaris were perceived to have erected security cordons to make sure they avert the unknown on campus. Details with our Yaoundé Chief Correspondent, Beatrice Ngamo.
Schools in Yaoundé have taken measures to reinforce security. Some have put in place multi-level security systems to prevent abduction of children. The entire education community is on high alert due to the phenomenon. At the Fandena Public Primary School under Yaoundé 5, officials have been educating their pupils to be first actors on their part. And the education and sensitization is mostly done during morning assembly. This alongside measures to take. At school, we advise that if an unknown person calls, you should not go. And not to go home all alone. Wait for our parents to come take us home after class. In another school, you need to show your credentials to the security guard to access the premises. Every school has their own security measure followed strictly. This fence, we have reinforced security with barbed wires. There is also the badge, authorized to collect child if you are in possession of the badge. The entire educational community is on high alert due to this phenomenon of child abduction.
And 57 women are recorded to have been killed in Cameroon in 316 days as a result of domestic violence. And Cameroon has observed this surge There are concerns coming from civil society activists who want to protect the right of the woman. Details in the following report with Morindi.
Reports from Griot reveal a disturbing trend. 57 women have been killed in Cameroon in just 316 days this year, highlighting an escalating femicide crisis. This alarming statistics raises urgent questions about the safety of women in the country.
En termes de chiffres, on va dire que c'est expressif.
The figures are expressive, showing the state of the environment in which we are. It also shows that families are no longer staying in the hideout like they used to do. This year, some 2 families were reluctant to denounce, but their neighbors did report it.
Despite ongoing awareness campaigns, the situation continues to deteriorate. Griot explores the reasons behind these troubling trends.
Quand on analyse les cas de violence faites aux femmes,
when we announce the number of violence that lead to feminicide, it shows there is still a lot to be done because a lot of complaints are dropped, but nothing is done. A case was dropped at CTC, another in Yaoundé, yet nothing was done. Some families end up abandoning the cases. At the level of the courts and police, a lot still needs to be done.
Experts in women's rights attribute the rise in violence to pervasive economic hardships, which often exacerbate tensions within couples.
Plus la tension.
What has been proven scientifically is that the economic challenges are enormous, and this is increasing the cases of feminicide.
As financial pressure mounts, the strain on relationships can lead to tragic outcomes. Advocates emphasize the need for more effective interventions and support systems to protect women and address the root causes of this violence.
What is lacking is the implementation at the level of the justice system. With sensitization not producing the right results, the authorities need to harden the law so they protect women.
The growing number of femicide cases underscores an urgent call for action in safeguarding women's rights and ensuring their safety in society.
And the population of Bamenda have been checking the effects of environmental of the environment on them, especially after the heavy rains that are just ebbing out. Through an environmental-based organization, they have handed over a document to help guide policymakers a safe living. Details with Sherifa Saleh with girls from our Northwest Chief Correspondent, Annie Collins.
The findings of 3 environmental task forces in Bamenda 1, 2 and 3 subdivisions have been handed to the Northwest Regional Assembly to help guide policy action towards managing the environment sustainably following recent cases of heavy rains, landslides and other natural threats to human life in Bamenda.
You can imagine us cooking our pot of corn chaff and in broad daylight you just see water coming from no direction, all the directions, and carrying the whole pot of corn chaff somewhere. And then when the water goes, it leaves behind snakes. Can you imagine?
The documents have been handed this October 23, 2024 to the Commissioner for Economic Development by the Program Coordinator of the Community Agriculture and Environmental Protection Association during a dialogue workshop with a positive bias for women.
Now, having brought together all of this and having discussed them, we are now handing over to the level of the higher authorities. So from this stage, we now move forward that at the level of action, at the level of policy development, we already have somewhere to start from. We already have a base.
The Ministry of Environment, having devolved its powers to regional collectivities, the local task forces expects much from the Regional Assembly.
We are going to address the items that are pointed out in a manner that solves the problem in a prioritized manner. So I cannot give you a timeline just yet, but we will study it and revert, especially before the next rainy seasons when the rains are coming.
While expecting positive action to save lives, various speakers have urged these community representatives to avoid human and economic activities that threaten or provoke nature.
Thanks very much, Sherifa Saleh. And Cameroon and the United States of America are on the verge of concluding discussions for Cameroon's readmission into the African Growth Opportunity Act, the AGOA. That has been confirmed by the country's representative of SOCIETE, Philippe Asselin. And of course, coming on the heels of a meeting or a summit on economic investment, macroeconomic investment organized by the American Chamber of Commerce, Cameroon, and the United States and SOCIETE. And of course, there was a visit to some of the critical economic hub in Douala. Details in the following report. On the heels of the summit on microeconomic investment opportunities in Cameroon, the American Chamber of Commerce Cameroon, that has contributed almost 70% of the drafting of Cameroon's finance law for the past 5 years, has visited some strategic economic hubs in Douala. This visit is to permit business executives to rethink areas of sustainable development that align with the United States government's sustainable development strategy. Beyond that, Cameroon and the United States are at verge of concluding discussions for Cameroon's readmission into the African Growth Opportunity Act, AGOA. This has been confirmed by SOCIETE resident representative to Cameroon, Philippe Asselin.
The ambassador has been engaged with the government of Cameroon or to bring Cameroon back to AGOA. And per our understanding, the government of Cameroon has made important strides in that, and those strides will continue.
The strides made by Cameroon is hinged on its growth development index in pivotal private sector.
There's one particular area we think it's important if you go into to have the growth necessary, as the minister spoke, from 4 to 8% and beyond. It's to include more private enterprise. It's to include more youth. And this is where, we come in with all of these major initiatives from the U.S. government.
Cameroon was flushed out of the AGOA initiative for flouting basic rules governing the AGOA initiative. And that report draws the curtain for this edition of the 650 News with me, Kejang Henry Atimbe. Thanking you for being there with us, in which you got information that they are demanding 1.9 billion CFA francs to release the senior or the divisional officer for Idabato, and of course how schools are stepping up security measures to make sure they protect the children from abduction. Lee Piju is next on the line, and she's coming up with the debrief, the actuality with her guest. Thanks very much.